First of all, a warm welcome to all of you to Crio and Launch Tryouts. You've all heard about Launch. You've applied to the Launch program. And this weekend, you're going to get a flavor of what it means to learn on Crio. Um, you also have some additional incentives for going through this entire program this weekend. Finish the workshop. We're going to give you some special privileges in terms of entry into the launch program. We have three selection stages for the launch program, as many of you have heard. So one of the stages, which is the mini project, if you finish this workshop, it counts as your mini project. Okay, so we'll go into more details a little later. But first of all, let me introduce Cryo to everybody who has not heard of Cryo before. Uh, a quick introduction to myself as well. My name is Ajay. I am one of the founding team members at Cryo, and I head the content and learning delivery teams. I have an extensive engineering background. I've been a part of a few startups that have sold to Cisco and Google. Um, and Cryo is my current focus right now. And um, so, what is Cryo, right? So, Cryo, this is what we do at Cryo. Okay, so we empower developers with relevant skills through work-like micro experiences. Okay, now that's a lot of words to introduce Cryo, and let's get into some details. Okay, what does this really mean? So usually when we go and ask people, all the students, particularly some of you and some of the colleges that you are in right now, when if I ask you for an example of where you've learned a lot of things, a lot of new concepts in a very nice way, in a way that you'll actually retain it and you're getting better as a product developer or software developer, right? Everybody says that internship was awesome. They did an internship and they learned so much on the internship, much more than they had learned in their college programs, right? How many of you agree with that? You can use the chat window. Those of you who have done internships, do you feel like you've learned so much more in the 2 months or the 4 months or the 6 months that you've been on an internship? You learn so much more, right, than taking up a college course, sitting through classes and working on class projects. Somehow class projects are not the same as internships. Uh, so we try to go into some more details and find out why that is, right? And we think the reason internships are different is because you're working on some real world problems. Okay, it's not just some toy problems uh, that are designed only to illustrate certain concepts. For instance, there'll be a course on databases, and then in your database course, you'll create a database using MySQL or something like that. A few tables here and there, maybe 10 to 20 records. It doesn't quite give you a sense of what a real world deployment of a database looks like, right? So conceptually, learning some foundational topics, college does a very good job. But then if you want some applied skills that are relevant to the industry, then the best place to learn that is in an industry, right? So at Cryo, we were like, okay, what if we can give people the same experience, as if they're going through an internship, similar to an internship, but then without having to join a particular company or being part of a company. Okay, so that's what we mean by work like. Okay, it's very work like, and it's not work experience. These are micro experiences because you're with us for a limited period of time, usually a few months. That way, these are micro experiences, and once you graduate from the program, you have some relevant skills that are readily applicable to the industry needs. Okay, so that's what Cryo does. Let me give you of what a real world problem at Cryo. So one of the learning programs we have, what we've done is we've taken Uber. Like, how many of you have used Uber, booked an auto, booked a cab? You're all familiar with Uber, right? So what we did is at Cryo, we built the Uber uh, application end to end, right? All the way from the Android app down to the backend server, the web server, and the web application. all the way down to the database, right? And then what we did was, okay, we have the full stack solution for Uber. Let's give users, all the people who come to our platform to learn, we give them the app. Okay, you can install the app on your phone, you can play with the app, and you know how Uber works, so you already know what to expect from the application, the phone app that you've installed. But then on the back end, what we have done is we've built it in a very modular way, and then we keep removing modules. Okay, so when the phone app actually makes some requests to the back end, those features are not implemented. You have to actually go ahead and implement those features one by one, and as you implement them, the Android app starts working. Okay, one feature after another. By the end of the program, you've implemented the full backend stack, the distributed web application. The distributed systems backend is completely implemented, and you have learned a lot in the process, and you get some ready feedback because the app that you've installed is actually working now, right? So, sorry. So that's what we mean by a real world problem. Now you might think, okay, another aspect of work experience or internship experience is you don't have indefinite time, right? You have to finish your internship in a 2 month or a 4 or a 6 month period. So we have the same concepts here also while going through the learning program. We have a very structured execution plan. So what we do is we take a large problem like building a backend for Uber, right? And then we break that down into small modules, and then we tell you, okay, today can you finish this particular module? That's your goal. Your goal is to finish module 1 today, and then when you finish module 1, some basic functionality and interaction between the backend and the Android app will be complete. And then we go module 2s and 3s and 4. By the time you go through all the modules, obviously the app is ready, but then you get a very structured execution plan. You get to plan your work. You know what is coming. Uh, that way, there's a bounded time, and you're compelled to finish it within that particular time, right? That also adds a huge impact to your learning, right? If it's a very open-ended problem, it's like contributing to overload or something. You take a lot of time to learn about the open source stack that you're trying to add to, but then there's no bounded time. You can do it whenever you want. If you don't do it, even then it's fine. Or it's like taking a side project. Who's going to hold you accountable, right? If you do it, fine, you learn a lot. If you don't do it, there's nobody telling you, hey, go do that side project. But here we hold you accountable to the structured execution plan that we have. And that actually puts everything into a very disciplined approach to learning. And thirdly, let's go back to the internship. Usually you have a tech lead, right, at the internship, who will tell you, okay, they'll assign the projects to you, and they'll tell you, okay, these are the things you have to work on. Sometimes you get stuck, and the tech lead doesn't have the full code solution. That's why they've hired you, right? You're the one writing the code for them. So there's no ready solution to look at. Everything you create, you're creating from scratch, right? You're writing the code from scratch. Nobody, you can't copy it from many places. So you get stuck sometimes, and the tech lead comes and tells you, they talk to you every day. Hey, how are you doing today? Do you have any problems? Are you stuck somewhere? And then you explain your problem, and then they'll tell you, okay, can you try this? Have you tried that? Maybe you should read this particular link or go to this website and follow what they've done there. They give you some hints. They guide you in the right direction, right? So that's what even we do at Crio. Okay, our mentors and teaching assistants, what we'll do is, when you report a problem and you say, I'm stuck here, I don't know how to proceed, we'll give you some hints and say, hey, can you try this? Have you tried that? Uh, and that way, the guidance is very adaptive. If you're moving very fast, we don't give you enough help or tips, because we want you to figure things out on your own. Real world is like that. When you start working in an internship or a full-time job, that's how it works. And the fourth, there's a performance evaluation. The tech lead comes and tells you at the end of the week, hey, good job, I think you did pretty well. Or your demo, you schedule a demo and the demo is working. Or they have a set of test cases and all the code that you have written have passed all the test cases. We offer something similar here, right? So as soon as you check in your code, it goes through our automatic verification systems. the assessment service, and then you get instant feedback about whether your code is working or not working. Um, so that kind of feedback you get very readily. Also, in some cases, depending on the time we have, we also take a look at some of your code and give you feedback on your code as well, right? So we've simulated what it is to work like, what it's like to work in a real company, right? Except it's a learning program. So you get the benefits of learning without being a part of a company. So that's about Crio, and that's how you will learn on Crio, okay? Most of our learning programs, they are about 10 weeks to 20 weeks long, uh, especially if it's part-time, right? So it's a very long commitment. We want you to be absolutely sure about whether this approach works for you, just as it has worked for hundreds of other people, right? So many people have gone through. You can go to LinkedIn and actually see the recommendations people have left for Crio. Everybody loves it. But then before you commit that amount of time, we want you to get a flavor of what it means to learn on Crio. What does this applied learning mean? What does this learn by doing approach? What does all that mean, right? So the tryouts here, over the next 2 days, this is what you're going to do to get a flavor, right? So basically, I talked about the Uber-like app. Today, you're going to work on a Swiggy-like app. Okay, so how many of you have used Swiggy and ordered food on Swiggy today, yesterday? People ordering it all the time. Swiggy is very popular. Okay, so you understand Swiggy. Think of this. Think of it. Think of Q Eats as a Swiggy kind of application. Okay, so basically, you can. Q Eats is a very popular food ordering app. Okay, of course, it's a story, but then you want to be a part of the story, right? You want everyone to it's a popular thing. Maybe use it, right? And what they do is they order their favorite dishes from restaurants that are near them, right? Now, in Q Eats, the company, right? What has happened is the marketing team is saying we want to get uh, we want to get a little more engagement, right? We want to. Okay, a lot of people reporting audio issues. I don't know if it's your network or my network. Is it? Can somebody type in the chat and say voice is okay or not okay? Okay, it's reasonable. Okay, I think for some of you it's working. So we'll see. Okay, please keep me posted on chat. Okay, so I'll continue. What happened is Q Eats, they want to get some more social engagement. So the marketing team has said, if the users can take a picture and write reviews and post it on our Facebook page, then we'll get a lot of interest and we can get even more customers. So the product management team goes and does some user surveys and everything, and they come up with this most requested feature, right? Which is users are going to write reviews for Q Eats orders and post them on Pinterest and Facebook to start with. And then the third box there are the requirements. Okay, so this is what the users will do. They will click a photo of their order, and then they'll write some eye-catching descriptions and say, like tasty gulab jamun or uh, very, very spicy Szechuan fried rice or something like that, right? So they'll write some eye-catching captions like that, and then they'll use some hashtags. All of you have used hashtags. It's all the Instagram age, right? So some hashtags to make the reviews even more interesting, easy to discover, and stuff like that. So this is the requirement for the weekend, right? So the product engineering team will come and talk to you, and you are the developer that they have hired. Okay, each one of you is a developer for Q Eats. Okay, assume you're the only developer for Q Eats, and you're going to build this particular feature for Q Eats. Okay, so are you up for this challenge? Okay, are you going to be able to build this feature for Q Eats over the next 2 days? That is the challenge, and that's what you're going to do. Okay. Sounds interesting so far? Yeah, excited. Want to get started right now. Okay, so here are the prerequisites. A lot of you are asking me on chat, but here are the prerequisites. Okay, you just need some basic Python programming. Like some basic um, object-oriented programming skills. What is a class? Python class methods, and private and public members of classes, which is very straightforward. Um, and then some basic Linux commands. You need to know how to like cd view the contents of a directory, change directory, see the list of files, open a file, something like that, right? We also use some Git related concepts, but then we've given you all the commands, so you don't really have to know it up front. If you know it, well and good. If you don't know it, absolutely fine. The instructions are very self-explanatory, and then you can go through them and pick up all these things, right? Avdut wants to do RM-RF at the root. No, thank you. Anyway, so what will you learn over the next 2 days, right? So first of all, Facebook gives you some APIs. Pinterest also gives you some APIs. What do APIs mean is that it gives you some HTTP endpoints. And then if you make HTTP requests to those endpoints, you can actually post messages onto a Facebook page, right? Usually you use the phone app and then you can write posts on everybody's wall and everybody's timelines and pages and things like that. You can actually do it from the API also, okay? So send an image and the caption and the hashtags, and you make a call to the HTTP endpoint. And if you have the correct authentication credentials, it will take this and post it on a Facebook page. So you're going to learn how to do that. Same with Pinterest, okay? Secondly, look, today it's Facebook and Pinterest. Tomorrow the marketing team might come and tell you, okay, we have to do Instagram, we have to do Twitter also because they're all so popular. So can you please also add these two social sharing sites? Now you don't want to repeat all the code that you've written, okay? So you want to write your code in a modular way so that a lot of functionality can be reused when you're implementing similar features, right? So you're going to learn how to do that. And the third thing is you get a flavor of how to, a flavor of what it means to learn on Crio, okay? You get a flavor of our learn by doing approach. And then right from the get-go, you'll realize that, okay, there's not sufficient help. The documentation is lacking, but it's all on purpose. When you go to an internship or when you go to a full-time job, nobody is going to give you excellent documentation, okay? And nobody is going to give you all the training you need to get started. You have to figure things out on your own, okay? You have to learn by doing, and that's what you'll experience, okay? So this is your plan, right? We have a total of 4 modules. The first one is actually just connecting to your machine and things like that, okay? So I won't count that. You have 4 modules to do. Try to be done with the first 2 modules today, okay? This is your structured execution plan, right? So you have to try and stick to this plan. So first the module, which is publish a message to Facebook and share a review from the app to Facebook. Those 2 you want to finish today. All the Facebook related stuff, finish it today. That way you'll have plenty of time to tackle the Pinterest and the last module. I'll give you a short introduction to the third module, very interesting. Basically, there's a hosted artificial intelligence service, okay? It's an AI service. If you send an image to this AI service, it categorizes the image and gives you a list of categories, okay? It could be any image. So if you take a picture of ice cream and you send it to this service, it'll come back with ice cream, cold, frozen, and then chocolate if the picture has chocolate ice cream, or if it's a truffle, it'll a truffle. A brownie, it'll include brownie. If it has a little bit of vanilla, it'll also include vanilla as one of the categories. So it gives you all of this. So you'll actually use this third-party artificial intelligence service in order to suggest some interesting hashtags, okay? So instead of the users actually, you finish writing a post, you've uploaded the image, and then you sit down and think, okay, what hashtag shall I use? well, this service can suggest some hashtags for you. Okay, so you're going to actually implement that. So it's a very cool feature. I think you'll really like it. So try to get to that last module. Okay, very interesting.